चलो शुरू करते हैं बिस्मिल्लाहिर्रहमानिर्रहीम Assalamu alaikum. Welcome to FAST Alumni Association of North America's webinar series. Thank you all for joining. This is we conduct these webinars by FAST alumni and other people to encourage a spread of knowledge. Just a little background on FAST Alumni Association. First, my name is Ahmad Malik. I'm the president of FAST Alumni Association of North America, and we've been collecting donations and support from all of our alumni to support the students in all the 5 campuses: Faisalabad, Peshawar, Karachi, Islamabad, Lahore. And additionally, we are also supporting some research initiatives, and we want to start to do that. With this seminar, we are trying to share our some examples of research that I came to know recently that our alumni and the university is working. And to go through that, we would like to welcome and we have invited Naveed and Khawaja to share that initiative with the rest of the group here. So Naveed, Anis, Khawaja, and we know each other from back in 2003, I believe, Anis, and he's from FAST Islamabad, and we had an opportunity to work together for a couple of months for the company, and I found him very knowledgeable and inspiring, and he's been training a lot of people on agile and lean methodologies. I would love for him to give his background, and then we can dive into this presentation. So Naveed, go ahead, please.
Ji, Assalamu alaikum, Jazakallah khair, Amal bhai. Yes, those good old days, 2003, when we worked together with Rehan Saab in digital processing systems in Islamabad. Being the first graduate of FAST Islamabad is an honor in itself. So I am the first roll number that actually graduated from FAST Islamabad. And then we actually started from a house, and there's a family feeling right from the start of this journey. And the thing that really inspires me is this feeling of this foundation, FAST being foundation for advancement of science and technology. When we were in FAST, we never recognized the power of foundation. Over the time, over the years, as we have worked on many profit and non-profit organizations and initiatives, one thing that comes out and shines out for me is whenever there is a not-for-profit initiative or something that is beyond making money. Yes, profit can be made, but not at the cost of people or cost of this planet. So my past few years have been focusing on helping organizations transform into agile and lean methodologies, but that's just outputs and practices. The outcomes that I'm actually transforming organizations into is this purpose-oriented focus. And that is to do something beyond making money. And as Henry Ford said, very famous quote, a company that makes nothing but money is a poor business. So a business that makes nothing but money is a poor business. If you think about it, if you try to analyze what he's saying, we all fall into this trap of going into a career, choosing a career, going into a type of a company where we can make the most money. And sometimes those are the choices in the initial parts of our careers. As we join a university, sometimes our parents are thinking like, oh, you go to this university, you'll get a great job, and then you can earn a lot of money. And that cycle continues for a while. But within the first 10 years or so, I have this very strong feeling that within the first 10 years, that inner satisfaction becomes a challenge. Because if you are just working on making money, you will not be satisfied. We are not made like that. We are not enterprise or this money-making machine system organisms. We are much bigger than that. So I very strongly believe in that. Yes, I've been transforming organizations all over the world, helping them go on these journeys. And I do run my own consultancy training and coaching company called Zecofy. My engagement here, the thing that I want to focus on is this wonderful initiative that is very, very close to my heart. It is actually true pursuit of my purpose. And I would say this is the first real initiative that I'm really proud of. in my life, and it's been about 20 years of my career. And this is the one thing I would say really excites me. And that is because it actually is going to make cancer diagnosis affordable. And we intend to do all of this for free for the poor. And we are going to save lives, and we are going to save households, and so many other things. Inshallah, you'll see in a few minutes when I explain what it is. So that's I think. But the interesting thing is, my connection with FAST, being the first graduate of FAST Islamabad, has always been very interesting. So Dr. Ayub Alvi, who is the rector right now, he used to teach us, and then he became the director, and then he kept on moving up. And now I was talking to him a few weeks ago regarding this initiative, and I was so passionate about it. I am still. He could see the energy coming out, and he was like, "Wow, subhanallah! If we could get more of these initiatives, collaborative initiatives, going, FAST will make its mark much beyond just making programmers." The challenge has been that FAST is excellent at making hardworking programmers, bringing them to the market, and then they climb up the ladders. Um, and the thing that really excited me was this: one of my batchmates, she was the gold medalist in our batch, Dr. Humaira Naveed. Her younger brother, Dr. Hammad Naveed, uh, I visited FAST. I was delivering a lecture, and he said, "Okay, let me show you how my lab that I've set up. This is a computational biology lab." I was like, "Okay, FAST does those things as well. That's great." So he took me on a tour, and it was mind blowing for me. It was wow. I was so pleasantly surprised to see excellent MIT level research being done in FAST Islamabad, and most of the people don't even know about it. That's the most interesting part. So Dr. Hamad explained many projects to me, and one of them really hit me, which was the early cancer diagnosis through artificial intelligence. And at that time, it was more of a research project, and he is still trying to make sure that we prove that these third world countries, so-called third world countries, can do better than first world country research. Sitting there, all the talent, so the algorithm, the the people, everything else, this is all made in Pakistan. And Dr. Hamad is on the call. He'll be explaining the details of what this actually is. So FAST has this lab called computational biology lab, and my connection is being the first graduate of FAST Islamabad. And now comes the commercial part. The challenge with computational biology or any research initiative in Pakistan is the commercialization of it. Yes, excellent researches are done, but because of lack of infrastructure, because of political challenges, because of corruption, all sorts of challenges hit you, and your amazing ideas are lost. And I'm sure many of you might have faced it. So we said, okay, we'll take this as a challenge. And then my longtime mentor and the connection that we created. So Ahmed Bhai and Rehan Saab, so Dr. Rehan Basham is also on the call. Honored for him to be here as well. He's the CEO of InfoMatrix. I was in Islamabad, fortunately, after visiting the lab at Computational Biology Lab in FAST Islamabad. I went to meet him, and I explained what this is. We asked Dr. Hamad to come along. He explained, and we all just things started coming together. So there is a connection. This is a kind of a family, and there's a perfect storm that Allah Ta'ala planned, that things happened. And why was I there in Pakistan? It's even more interesting. When COVID happened, I was actually, if it was about to happen, we could see the changes happening all over the world around March time. I was in Pakistan delivering some training programs, and I could see the patterns that the whole closure is about to happen. And immediately I called my wife. I said, "Okay, get ready. I'm going to come back. Let's all quickly go back to Pakistan." I live in London, near London. It's a city called St. Albans in the UK, north of London. And here, when the lockdown happens, which is happening right now as well, we are in lockdown. Um, it is very, very isolating. So I thought, why not take this opportunity and take my family to Pakistan? I actually took them, and we stayed there for 5 months. And in those 5 months, I only spent a few weeks in Islamabad. And out of those 2 weeks, I met Dr. Hamad and Rehan Saab, and all of those things came together in the right time. So Alhamdulillah, good things have been happening. I'm just giving you this background to show that when you try to take some steps towards a bigger cause, Allah Ta'ala brings those perfect storms and makes them work for you. So never underestimate your sincere efforts. One of the key things I want you to take away from this is, if you, I'm sure each and every person on this call and on this planet has been sent for a cause, for a purpose. If you don't pursue it, somebody else will use you to pursue theirs. If it is greater than making money, that's great. Do it together. Use, be part of somebody else's purpose. But if it's not, you need to explore your purpose. You need to work with the like-minded people, and you need to add value to this world. You need to contribute something to this world rather than just take it. Okay. With that said, I'll quickly jump onto my screen. I'll show you some slides to give you a background on why am I so excited about this.
And just a little housekeeping. I mean, we will reserve some time towards the end for question and answers. However, you're welcome to put your questions in the chat. And as I see a little break, I will definitely interject my questions in there.
Great, excellent. So Amal is going to make cancer diagnosis affordable. If you just reflect on what I've just said, affordable cancer diagnosis. Why is it important? Why do we need to pursue this as a purpose? Amal is a word in Arabic that starts with the alif, not ain. The alif, Amal with the alif means hope. We have named this product Amal for a reason, because it is a hope for the poor. It is a hope for the whole nation who actually struggles with the medical bills, and the whole families and households lose millions and millions of rupees and dollars and lose thousands, hundreds of thousands of lives. And we need to do something about it. And to make that happen, the three institutions that need to work together. First one is the computational biology lab from FAST, as I mentioned earlier, the first pillar. Second is the InfoMatrix Technologies, the commercial partners, and I'm a partner there as well. I'm the chief vision officer for Amal and chief transformation officer at InfoMatrix. And we are collaborating with medical institutions to roll this out. And this has been happening. I'll explain what that means in a minute. But these are the three key pillars that we need to make hope, to make Amal possible. InfoMatrix is a very purpose-oriented organization. And our purpose is making people wiser, insights smarter, and data cleaner everywhere, every day. And we don't just say this as a word or a sentence or a phrase. We live it on a daily basis. Every product, every service, every initiative, every conversation has a purpose tied to it. We are pursuing our purpose with every breath as much as we can, and we're trying to inspire others to follow that path as well. Pakistan being a very vibrant population, it's the sixth most populated country in the world. Most of you are from Pakistan. We all love Pakistan. It has given so much to us. There is so much emotion tied to why we need to initiate this in Pakistan first. But one thing that makes me proud is it is one of the happiest nations in the world. Despite all the challenges we have, we are happy. And the challenge is, even though they are very, very deep and very complex, we still live with them with a lighter heart. So our concept of Amal, it actually stands on four key pillars. I'll go into the pillars later on. The outcomes that we are aiming for, I'll explain those as the roof, and the foundational challenges we have with the affordability, the speed, the accuracy, the accessibility, and the overall technology-driven initiatives. All of that ties into this conversation. I'll try to make sure that I cover all of this in the next 20-25 minutes, depending on how much emotion I can bring in and how passionate I feel. It might take a little bit longer, so please bear with me. But we will finish on time, and we'll make sure that we cover all the key points. Pakistan, it has a population of 221 million with 70 million adult women, and we count adult women as 15 years or above. We are at a huge risk because every ninth woman in Pakistan, every ninth adult woman in Pakistan is likely to suffer breast cancer. Can you imagine the impact of this? Every ninth woman out of the 70 million. It's a huge number. And this is from the Journal of Pakistan Medical Journal. Pakistan has the highest rate of breast cancer in Asia. Can you imagine sixth largest population with these 70 million adult women and Pakistan having the highest rate of breast cancer in Asia? We are at a huge challenge and it is a volcano that is about to erupt. We need to be very, very serious about addressing this. In 2018 alone, there were 90,000 cases, out of which approximately 50% of them lost their lives. And the most worrying part is it is doubling in the near future. This number is doubling, meaning the number of cases, confirmed cases, and the death rate is doubling. The four key challenges, the key pains we have is the unaffordable treatment leads to financial toxicity. What that means is if we don't diagnose early, we will lead to into very expensive treatment like chemotherapy and other interventions to cure breast cancer. And after a certain stage, it does not cure. It is a certain death. And as we have seen in the statistics, 50% of the women lose their lives right now, every year. The manual diagnosis leads to lower throughput. That means the current throughput is too slow, too low to really produce the results, the outcomes, the enough diagnosis to prevent this in Pakistan. The manual diagnosis meaning, I'll show you the process later on. And that manual process means we do not have enough histopathologists to make this happen, that every adult woman gets diagnosed and we do preventive diagnosis on a regular basis. The third key challenge we have is the accuracy rates. Low accuracy rate leads to unnecessary chemotherapy, as I just explained. Accuracy meaning as we look into those biopsy results with the eyeballing and the microscopic views, the accuracy rates are around 30% in Pakistan. 30% accuracy in effect means it's 70%. It is more than half of the times it is wrong. That diagnosis is wrong. We miss out. And that missed out opportunity to prevent cancer leads to loss of life and a lot of money. And the last one is the inaccessible diagnosis that leads to undetected cancer. Inaccessible diagnosis meaning most of the women, most of the people in Pakistan are not used to preventive diagnosis or regular assessments. And that because they're quite expensive, and in the rural areas, the remote areas, they do not have these facilities at hand. And most of the people find this out at a very late stage, which nobody can do anything about other than going through that pain and going back to the creator. So our aim with Amal is to improve the survival rates from 50% to 90% by 2025, inshallah. And that aim, that outcome will be achieved by making these outputs possible. And the outputs are making cancer diagnosis affordable, accelerated, accurate, accessible, agile, and AI driven. That aspiration of bringing this survival rate up to 90% requires a lot of change in the infrastructure. And there are so many challenges that we have faced and we are facing and we know we will face in the next 10 years or so. But we will, with your help and with your duas and with your contributions and with your connections, inshallah, we are going to make it happen. Making cancer diagnosis affordable, accessible, accurate, and AI driven. That's the focus. These are the outputs. But outcome is to increase the survival rate to 90%. The four key pillars that I mentioned, if you look at the rightmost, the first pillar, that's the artificial intelligence algorithm. Now, this algorithm has been developed at the computational biology lab at FAST Islamabad, which I'm very proud of. And Dr. Hammad, who is on the call, who will be explaining what that is. Alhamdulillah, great progress has been made. Publications are in play. They have been submitted, some great responses and some international recognitions have already arrived. And we'll go take you through that shortly. That is great. But what does it entail? What is this artificial intelligence algorithm that I'm talking about? So what is the current process? Let's understand what is the challenge right now. I remember I said there is a manual process, there is a lack of technology that is causing this issue. So right now, the way you diagnose breast cancer is this: you do self-examination. If you find any kind of tumor, if you feel any kind of this stiffness, there is a requirement. You should actually, it's highly recommended that you actually go for a biopsy. And in a biopsy, they take a sample from that lump, and that tissue sample is then converted into a slide physically. And that slide is then put under a microscope with the help of a histopathologist who is a specialized pathologist in histopathology. They look under a microscope, they try to find the patterns, and they try to see whether there is cancer in there or not. That is a manual process. That the turnaround time approximately is around 15 days or so for you to get a report from histopathologist. So right from your biopsy into getting a report, it is a long time. And this happens because there are bottlenecks. There is a lack of, we do not have enough histopathologists in the country. The capacity is very low. And then it is quite expensive as well. What we have done is, with the Amal solution, the first two steps are the same. Yes, there is self-examination. Yes, there is biopsy. Yes, you get the slide. But now the slide doesn't go to a person. We are saying this is an assisted diagnostic tool initially, and later on we'll see where we take it. But in this assisting, what happens is this slide is digitized in a digitization unit. It's called a scanner. You can call it a microvisionaire. There's so many different options available. I'll explain those later on as well. But when it goes to a digitizer, that slide is then converted and blown up by 70 times a higher resolution. And it is then fed into the Amal algorithm. And the Amal algorithm in step 4 actually reads that high resolution image and tries to find the patterns. And when it picks up those patterns, it tells you and gives you a diagnostic report in less than 5 minutes. You actually get a report just like that. In 15 days or so, you used to get it manually. You'll still get it manually from histopathologists the way it's going right now. But gradually, their throughput will increase because now they will have somebody else to help them. This is a secondary review kind of thing. And that is an assisting tool for the histopathologists. It is not going to replace them initially. It is a very long-term thing where everything will be replaced with these AI algorithms, but not in the near future. So here I'll request Dr. Hammad to take us through the deeper insights on how this algorithm was developed. Dr. Hammad, can you please unmute your mic? And
Thank you, Naveed bhai. It's very nice to be here and very nice to see some familiar names. So let me just walk you through what we were trying to achieve. Naveed bhai, you'll have to change the slides
yeah.
on the queue. So first of all, I wanted to show you some of the data that we had in the beginning. So these are actually very huge images, roughly 1 GB in size, and not all of this, all of the sort of image is tumor. So and not all of these images can be fed into computer programs. Typically, our RAMs are about 4 GB, maybe 8 GB. So the machine learning algorithm actually needs to look at tons of these images simultaneously to sort of find patterns. So just to show you some patterns, this is what a normal slide looks like, where there is no tumor. It's perfectly normal tissue. Maybe can you go ahead? This is what a benign slide, where there are some changes that you can see in these dark purple patches, where you start seeing some sort of duplications happening. Can you go ahead, Naveed bhai? This is where that the cancer is already developed, but it is still localized on one site. So this is what we call third stage in situ cancer. And finally, can you, Naveed bhai, go ahead? This is the invasive part where the breast cancer sort of has is already invading other cells, and it's sort of chemotherapy is the only answer. There's no. So as you could see in the previous 4 slides, there is a pattern that you can find, and you can teach that pattern to the machine learning algorithms to sort of find these regions. But the slides that I showed you were very clean. It's not as clean. This is just in this slide, what I'm trying to show is variations within the same, with the normal cell. So it's not just that, it's not that obvious. You need to that's why you need to show the algorithm lots and lots of data. So once you have lots and lots of data, the issue is you need high performance computing, you need algorithms that can digest that data, and a lot of other things. So it's not that we are the first one trying to look at this. This happens, there is an international competition that happens every couple of years, where people come up with their algorithms. So we took this data set where they had publicly available data set from the US, which is manually annotated by two trained pathologists. So the left column is where the two pathologists agreed. Even the two pathologists only agreed at 70%, only agreed 70% of the time, that which part of it is invasive cancer. What people actually have to do, because these images are huge and you need lots and lots of them, they divide this whole thing into small chunks, what we call patches, and they feed the patch to the machine learning algorithm instead of the whole image. So what happens with that is that you lose all the global context, and you only are looking at local micro, just like a microscope focuses on small things. That's how the machine learning algorithms start looking at it, because they are treating each image separately. So this second column is what other people get from because they are only looking at local images. This is what they say is cancer, and you can see it's nowhere near as accurate as a pathologist. The third column is what we get out of it. So we not only look at the local picture, we have an algorithm. Basically, it's scaled networks that give us this local level information. This is basically probability that each patch is invasive or not. And then we combine that local information with the global information in our own architecture to get this, what the third column looks like. And this is almost as accurate as the intersection of this sort of annotation is as good as the intersection of two pathologist annotations. So this is what we have right now. This is already submitted to a very good journal, and we're hoping to get it published pretty soon.
Okay, Jazakallah khair, Amal, Jazakallah khair. This is great. You oversimplified it. I'm sure that this comprises of more than a year's long effort to get this algorithm going. So Alhamdulillah, some great progress has been made. It looks simple, but it is a very, very complex AI algorithm that has been developed. So we are proud of you, Hammad. Keep it up. Jazakallah khair. You're making the nation and the institution proud. Coming to the awards and international recognitions, I think one of the things that Dr. Hammad just mentioned is publication is in review, is in the Computerized Medical Imaging and Graphics journal. This is one of the most famous ones, and it's an authority in the whole world right now. So getting ours published there will be a great next step, inshallah, and it is happening as we speak. One of the biggest achievements we've done is we are honored and humbled that we won this competition with Google. This is Google's grant for TensorFlow. So we got the access to their not available commercially right now, this thing called TPUs. And those TPUs are actually made accessible to you to get high speed computing at your fingertips via the cloud. And TensorFlow, we got the access to that by winning a competition and then actually getting this access. So we are really humbled by this progress, alhamdulillah. The other big thing that happened is in the UK, there's an initiative called UK-based Path Lake. The Path Lake means pathology lake. This is the data lake we are talking about. And UK's Path Lake is considered to be one of the most advanced technology initiatives from medical perspective. And University of Warwick is ranked second in the UK in computer science, and it has one of the most advanced world-renowned tissue and image analytics lab that leads the UK-based Path Lake initiative. So our scientists from Amal have been given scholarship, and they have actually come to the to University of Warwick now on full scholarship to continue all their research. All of that because they were working on these cutting edge, bleeding edge initiative called Amal, the algorithm that they have developed, the kind of initiative that has been led by Dr. Hammad Naveed. We all are proud of this, that it is internationally recognized, and further scholarships are being discussed as well, alhamdulillah. Next is our selection in the prestigious AI and IoT conference in 2020. So while I was there in, in COVID, this thing came up. Somehow the awareness rose, and we gradually met a few people. Ultimately, we were shortlisted as one of the 25, only 25 companies were selected in the whole country. And this is Comstack is an organization of 57 Muslim countries. And this was the first AI and IoT conference held in Islamabad. So we got an opportunity to present there. We got a stall. And this initiative is led by, so AI is in Pakistan is actually led by the president, His Excellency, the President Dr. Arif Alvi. So in that conference, we exhibited. We had a stall. Many people visited that. Many prominent ones like Minister of Science and Technology, Mr. Fawad Chaudhry, the Azam Sawati, and other very distinguished leaders. And Dr. Arif Alvi visited himself and took keen interest personally in this. So one is being shortlisted, and two is being pulled in and recognized. So as we were presenting, and when the president came to our desk, within 2 minutes, we could see that he got more engagement. He spent a little bit more time, asked a few more pertinent questions, and established that he wanted to know further. He wanted us to go further in this. So within a few hours, we got a message from their PS, and they said, we want you to meet us at the Ministry of Science and Technology. And alhamdulillah, we all went. Later on, we were then asked to get this scientifically reviewed, and Pakistan Institute of Medical Sciences, PIMS, their head of pathology, head of radiology, and other key leaders in this field, they have now reviewed it. So all of those they were initiated by that conference. Those awareness started, went to Ministry of Science and Technology, then went to PIMS, then went to many other institutions and their heads and their pathology departments. And we realized that this is very promising. So all the places we have been till now, and we are meeting more and more influential and sincere people. One thing that is common is there is a lot of hope. This word hope, Amal, carries a lot of weight, directly and indirectly. Alhamdulillah, whoever comes across, or even all of you who are on this call, inshallah, one way or another, you will be able to contribute to this. I have got some ideas at the end on how you can be part of this great initiative. One of the other things that we are also proud of is Dr. Hammad Naveed has been awarded as his paper as the best research paper award in biology for 2019 by this 57 Muslim countries organization, Comstack, was awarded to Dr. Hammad, who's on this call again. Again, a moment of pride for this institution and for the nation. Alhamdulillah, we've got some amazingly gifted, talented professionals here. The second pillar. So first pillar we covered was the artificial intelligence algorithm. We've covered that. I won't spend too much time on the middle two because they are not directly an issue right now. We'll talk about, I'll just touch upon these and move quickly to the last pillar. AI server processing power we talked about. So I'll give you a rough example, and these numbers vary, so don't quote me on this, but that's a very simple comparison. When we are trying to train our algorithm, it requires a lot of processing power, as Dr. Hammad Naveed has just mentioned. That processing power means training the algorithm for one set of images, it can take hours. When we got access to TPUs from Google, from that grant, we could do it in minutes. So what we could do in hours, now we could do many more in minutes. That means the server processing power is there. It's just that when we are ready, we will need access to that. If you are working in those organizations that provide such high processing power and you want to be part of this initiative, you can actually get us in touch. We do need the server processing power. We also need the infrastructure. We are developing that nationally, and we want to make it affordable. So any such grants or initiatives that we can get, it will really help us with the processing power. TensorFlow, as I mentioned, was one, and there are many others as well. Next is the histopathologist forum. So remember when I said, so when Dr. Hammad was explaining, the histopathologists have to mark the slide, right? That marking of the slide educates our algorithm with what does a cancer look like? What is the stage and all sorts of the useful information. If we don't educate our algorithm right, it will be as ineffective as the current system. Think about it. We need to educate our algorithm not by one person's opinion, because the accuracy rates are quite low. We need to get a forum going, and we need to get expertise and make sure that it is a forum where multiple people confirm that the marking of those slides is correct. So the histopathologist forum is quite key. And we are in conversation, and we are just signing contracts now with many medical institutions in Pakistan to make sure that we get the highest quality histopathologists on this forum. We get them to mark these slides, and then we get those marked slides. And when I say mark, meaning annotated slides, and we put them into the algorithm, the Amal algorithm. So we have one part is the training of the algorithm, and other is the reviewing of normal slides of any biopsy slides. Remember, one is the education of the slide of the algorithm, and second is just the review of the slides. Education is done through the histopathologist, and just review is done on the digital infrastructure. What does that mean? The last pillar, and then we'll start converging towards a conclusion. So the most important factor that has been a challenge, and we are trying to break those barriers, is the digital infrastructure. In Pakistan, digital infrastructure for medical does not exist. It is only nominal in nature. What we need is those digital images. Remember, we said there are slides that need to be converted via the scanners so that we can get blown up digital images, very high resolution ones. That scanner does not exist, and it is not cheap either. It costs around 150,000 pounds, which is around 200,000, 150,000 pounds or $200,000 for a scanner that feeds 100 slides at a time and gives us the digital images of those. That is expensive per se, but not that much. Considering the population of Pakistan, we definitely need many of those across the country. And there is a strategy in place. We'll talk about that shortly as well. But we cannot depend on that big grant to arrive and then we solve that problem. We need to have a bridge. We need to have some short-term progress done as well. We cannot rely on international images only. We need local data. We need local images, and we need quite a lot of that as well. So to roll out this digital infrastructure, one of the key things that has happened, which is very exciting from Alhamdulillah, very promising from our perspective, is this Microvisionaire. Microvisionaire is a tool. If you notice, there is a slide that on the right hand side, if you can see, there is a slide. It's placed under the microscope, and there's a program called Microvisionaire that helps in. It's manual, but you can actually do that with very little training. And this image is produced in small sections. So what happens is you put the slide under the microscope, you move around the cursor, it picks up the patches from the slide zoomed in through the microscope, because there's a camera on the top of this microscope, and all this solution is called Microvisionaire. In about 10 minutes or so, we can get an image that is zoomed in from many different sections of the slide and is stitched up and is given as a very high resolution image that we need. This Microvisionaire we are about to purchase. Inshallah, tomorrow we are placing that order. We have talked to the importers, and we have tried to contact the people who have made the software in Germany as well. We are in those conversations. We did a bit of fundraising for that as well. And Alhamdulillah, we managed to collect the money for the first one. And the objective is that we start this now. We don't wait for the big infrastructure to come. That big scanner will come, inshallah, and those things will happen. But we are not waiting for that. We are using this as an interim, and this will help us roll it out by January, inshallah. So I'll share the roadmap shortly, but you get the idea. This is how it's going to happen, inshallah, where the slides, they will be digitized using this or other digitizing scanning infrastructure. And then this will be given to the histopathologists. So they will do their own review. Our algorithm will be fed with this. We will give our report in a few minutes. They will do theirs, and then we'll compare notes. That is not far. Inshallah, by January 2021, we will do a live test of this. It really gives me goosebumps to feel this great next step that is imminent. Inshallah, when we place the order tomorrow, the device will come in the next few weeks. Within this month, we will have a scanner placed in our lab. We will have imaging done. We'll get the slides from the medical institutions that we're partnering with, and we'll digitize them. We'll get the histopathologists who are already on our panel who will be marking these or annotating these. We'll be educating our algorithm using those annotated slides, and then we'll be verifying that the education is going well, that training of the algorithm is going well. All of that is going to happen between now and end of this year, which is just 7 weeks. In the next 7 weeks, imagine what is going to happen. And then when the live case comes in January, when we do that test, inshallah, we will make sure that the benefit is reaped by the poor. It will be free for the poor, inshallah. It will be, people will come in, and any of those biopsies that are done for people who can't afford it, it will be for free, inshallah. It will be free forever. We do not intend to just make money. It is more of a great contribution to humanity, and we need to save our mothers, our sisters, our wife, our children, our daughters, all of them. And by the way, breast cancer is not just limited to women. Many new cases have been seen in men as well recently. So we have to take this very seriously. Now, there is a brighter future, alhamdulillah. It really humbles me. It really is rewarding to see that this is possible. We're going to save life. We're going to save cost. We're going to save time. We're going to do it with higher accuracy. And it is also going to encourage the AI research in medicine in Pakistan. Because of the lack of infrastructure, that research is not happening. So we intend to make or initiate this National Pathology Data Center of Excellence. All of these will be possible when our powerful positive forces join hands, and your connections, the way you help us connect with the right people and the philanthropists and others, that will make a difference, inshallah. First is your dua, then it is your action. All of that we need. But can imagine when we roll this out, even if we are 1% successful, remember 1% success means saving 10,000 lives a year and saving poor people's 10 billion rupees a year. Just 1% success. You take it to 10% success, it goes to 30 billion rupees per year saving of those poor people's money who lose their households to save their loved ones. We are going to bring it for free, inshallah, and we'll do it early on a regular basis so that they can prevent this completely. Amal is this diagnostic tool. I said there are outputs. These are all the outputs from us. First one, acceleration. We are accelerating this cancer diagnosis, bringing it the speed by improving it by 90%. It is 95% quicker. Affordability is going to be improved by 85%. Accessibility, we are going to make it accessible by having these hub sites rolled out across the country, and these clinics, these labs will run on this not-for-profit basis for those remote areas. And anybody who cannot afford it, they should still have full access to their health and their well-being. Accuracy, we are claiming, and our algorithm proves that it goes up to 89.9%. That is why we are so excited about it, because alhamdulillah, it is a breakthrough, bleeding edge algorithm that has been developed. And we are doing it in an agile way. We are incrementally improving this iteratively. And it is artificial intelligence driven. And we are using some of the most advanced algorithms that exist right now. And we are actually leaving a very strong mark on this area. From a roadmap perspective, what is this roadmap for Amal, or roadmap for hope? Stage 1, by December 2020, our prototype will be ready, meaning we will be ready to roll it out into an actual institution. In stage 2, by January, we are hoping that it will be January 2021 when the clinical test will be conducted live. First clinical test live will be done in January, inshallah. And because this was made a bit earlier, we are about to order that machine, and inshallah, unless it delays because of COVID or whatever reasons, and we don't get the machine in time, that's why we have kept that buffer till March 2021. But we are trying our best, inshallah, to bring it as soon as possible. Next is this stage 3 is this go live in product offering, where we actually roll it out by June 2021. We'll roll it out to multiple institutions. And then based on all of that learning in an agile way, we get feedback, we get the continuous improvement done. Stage 4, by December 2021, we'll go live for the product offering. This will be a wider range, so from local to national levels. Then stage 5 is the free service for the poor by January 2022. And these are very aggressive timelines, and we are pushing hard to make sure that we get there, inshallah. And the next long run is Amal will be, there will be an online version for Pakistan. For the poor people of Pakistan, it will be free forever, inshallah. But for international customers, we will take it to international regions, and we will charge a nominal fee. And that fee, inshallah, will be utilized in keeping this service free for Pakistan. So made in Pakistan, made by Pakistanis, and proud to be Pakistani. All of that is ingrained in this, alhamdulillah. So we are very, very excited about this. And as we develop this further, and as we go further on this journey, these 4 pillars that we've talked about, the artificial intelligence algorithm, the AI processing power, the histopathologist forum, and the digital infrastructure, these pillars will help us produce these outputs called making the cancer diagnosis affordable, accelerated, accurate, accessible, AI, agile, and AI driven. But the outcome, remember, the outcome is we are going to improve the survival rates from 50 to 90%, inshallah. And with that, I will request all of you to first make the dua, ask Allah Ta'ala for this help, and look at these options on how you can engage, connect us with the people, so you can actually help us connect with the philanthropic investors. One of the reasons we are not going for venture capitalists right now is we do not want profit making or just making money at any cost be the reason for this. If we go to any big medical institution right now, any pharmaceutical companies, they would love to get involved and they would love to own it, but then it won't be free for the poor. We want to make sure that it stays free. That's why we are saying we need philanthropic investors. And I'm sure you know many. Please do connect us to them. Second, introduce us to the medical institutions. We are trying our best. We are being connected. Yes, alhamdulillah, we're talking to many institutions right now, and it will grow. Join the Friends of Amal network. Be part of this. You get the regular updates. We join in on the regular basis. We get your ideas, put your suggestions in, all sorts of things. And then you can also connect us to the diagnostic labs. And then the final one is, if you have somebody in the policy making arena, we need help in defining the policy for life-saving products in Pakistan. It does not exist. When Pakistan made its ventilators, everything was done, orders were placed, we could not export them because of the policy. It took us a lot of effort to get that policy done so that we could export it. Similar things will happen here as well. We need to work on it now before it becomes a barrier later on, inshallah. So there are many other ways to connect as well. Please do send us an email, and the email is very simple: amal@in-matrix.org. We can share those details with you in a follow-up as well as a email. The ways to connect are there. If you have any questions, any suggestions, anything that you think you can help with, please do share now. And Jazakallah khair for this opportunity and your time. Amal bhai.
Mashallah, very good. This is very exciting to see that this level of research is done at FAST, which itself is a non-profit. Somebody sowed that seed ages ago for us to benefit from, and now we are going to bring this benefit to the world there as well. So this is excellent, and I'm glad you shared how we could help Amal. So there were a few questions that came up. One of the questions is Amal focused on breast cancer only at this point?
Excellent question. So that question has been asked by many medical institutions we've been to already. Remember when the biopsy is done and the tissue is put on a slide, it can be any sample. You're taking a tissue. We're not saying it's a breast cancer only tissue. Yes, our algorithm is based on breast cancer detection right now, but the plan is once we make this happen, the parallel research will start, because the same data, when we digitize that slide, it is a gold mine for finding any patterns of any cancer, as long as it is tied to that. If the sample is right, when you are doing a biopsy and you take that sample, it depends on where you take that sample from. If in your body there is pervasive cancer and you pick up the sample from that area, yes, we'll find it. It could be any cancer. If you take a sample from an incorrect area, if an area that is not infected yet, there is a lesser chance. But yes, very good question. Answer is, it's not limited to breast cancer only. We are going to widen the scope very soon, inshallah. Dr. Hammad, you want to add something?
Yeah, I'll just pitch in. So ideally, if you're looking at lung cancer, we would need lung cancer tissues as well, at least some data from there. So we will need site-specific data, but in deep learning, there's a concept about transfer learning where we can use data from other sites as well. So we would need site-specific data, but as soon as this digital annotation starts, those types of data are already present in medical institutions. So we will get those data as well and sort of have more versions of the same algorithm.
Sure.
Okay, very good, very good. Yeah, I hope one day humanity and the sciences are advanced that we could identify what causes cancer. But until that time, we're here to figure out how do we diagnose it to provide the treatment sooner. Did you mention you have the required authorization to use this AI software in Pakistan?
You mean the TensorFlow API?
The AI software in Pakistan, yes. These APIs and
so let me try to answer this one. So if you use it as a diagnostic assisting tool, where the pathologist is reviewing a report, just like any blood report, your CBC report, there is a statement at the bottom that you have to clinically make it sort of correlated with clinical findings. So this is basically the first version is to accelerate the time that the pathologist was spending on top of the microscope, looking at all of that and getting tired and just looking at a few of them a day. So we'll have that report ready where he can just zoom in on a particular place and confirm what we had said. So in that case, there is no requirement of any authorization. But we're hoping that as time passes and as the histopathologists get more experience on this, get more confidence with this algorithm, that they are going to come to us and tell us that this is really good and you should go for sort of using it as a diagnostic tool, not just an assisting tool. At that time, you'll be able to roll it out to the masses because you don't need a histopathologist to go over the report anymore. That would increase the throughput several more times. But it is with time. So right now it is a diagnostic assisting tool, which does not require any authorization from DRAP, which is the Drug Regulatory Authority of Pakistan. But when it is a diagnostic assistant tool, then we will have to go to DRAP, and there is no policy. As we said, right now there's no policy on these using AI algorithm. In fact, we at FAST designed the first policy that where we can detect COVID from X-rays. That was somebody brought it, so we actually made that policy as well. So we'll have to do the policing as well, all those documents. So it's a lot of work, but yeah, we're on good.
Very good, very good. I hope that eventually these kinds of initiatives or these kinds of diagnostic tools could be incorporated in the government health card initiative too. That was another suggestion made. But inshallah, it would start with one step to the other. Digitizing itself brings in quite a bit of opportunities for us to do better. I work for a dental company, and I went to them last time, and they were doing a scan of mouths, and where they could tell now that, okay, what pressure points are there in the bite, and they're also able to use AI with the X-rays to use it as a diagnostic tool, not as a replacement for doctors reviewing, to identify if there are any cavities. So this field, AI and medical, is going to change, benefit the humanity and society quite a bit. So Jazakallah, this is very good. I think these are all the questions that I have received. If there are people who have more questions, feel free to unmute yourself or just ask the question. So there is another question came in about what support do you need from AI server processing power? Please reiterate.
Okay. Amal, you want to answer that?
Sure. So as I said, these images are actually quite large, and we need to sort of process each one of these in batches and several times. So these 10 images that we had, actually we had to convert them into patches, and there were about 3 lakh patches. It was taking us about 34 hours or something to actually train the algorithm in one go. So one round, which we call an epoch, and you have to usually do about 200 of those. So it was a huge challenge, and we were sort of stuck. But then this TensorFlow grant came out, and we were able to do those 32 sort of rounds of, instead of one epoch, 32 epochs in a minute or so. So that's the amount of power gain that you get with TPUs. We had GPUs actually at FAST. We have a very, very well funded and well sort of equipped lab. We have 6 high performance computing servers with 12 GPU cards, state of the art. So it's not that we didn't have any sort of resource at that time. It's just that the TPU power is huge, and that helps a lot. And once we start collecting more data, we will have like several hundreds of these images rather than just tens. So at that point, we still have the access to TPUs for a month more, but eventually it goes away. It's just a grant for a few months. It will go away. So then we will sort of need TPU power from somewhere. Right now there is Kaggle, there is Google who are giving these powers, this sort of grants. If somebody is there that can connect us, or sort of, because it's not commercially available, we can't buy it.
Yeah. I would also request the alumni in the US that if you want to support this initiative, please utilize the FAANA platform. We have a good platform of collecting and contributions from generous donors, and we will be directly sending it to the Amal people. I mean, we've got about 600-700 or more alumni here, and I'm sure there are a lot of people who are passionate about supporting this. I mean, I had a couple of my family members passed away due to this thing, so I feel connected. I was really engaged with this presentation. Jazakallah khair. One other question that came up, along with a lot of praise for the team that has won these awards and made such a progress. The question is around, are there any approaches or any ways that you're trying to reduce false positive in your algorithm, or thinking about how over time it would be reduced?
So yeah, so it's basically the more data you give it, because you are comparing it with the actual pathologist's results.
Yeah.
The more data you show it, the more patterns it can find, and the better it gets. It's just like training a normal doctor who gets an MBBS. So we were at PIMS a few weeks back, and there the chief pathologist was actually, so they have a microscope where two people, two students can see along with the trainer together. So where the trainer is trying to show them that this is what where the problem starts and this is how it progresses. So this is exactly what we are teaching our algorithm. The more data we show it, the more annotated data we show it, the better it gets. So those epochs, those are basically the training. So on the same images, and the more images you give it, the better it gets. So there's no limit, there's no sky. The more different things it sees, the better it gets. The best thing about it is it does not get tired. You can keep training it day and night. It does not lose any memory, like when a pathologist retires, all its training is gone.
Yep.
So it will only improve over time. This 89% is the baseline that we have right now. It will only improve from here.
Okay,
There's
very
one
good.
question. Sorry, there's one question I just saw in the chat regarding the regional intervention and how this can be achieved. So let me just quickly touch upon it. I won't go into too much detail. But the way we are thinking is when we develop these hub sites, so let's say we've divided Pakistan into 5 key regions. These are the main cities. And then these are connected to the remote sites on a kind of a smaller, wider network perspective. And these hub sites will be connected to those. So the remote areas and the areas where we are difficult to connect with easily, we're going to place these microvisionaires, and that specific lab will help people diagnose themselves. So there will be biopsies. So you do need right now there is a dependency on having a biopsy done. As long as there is a biopsy available in that remote area, which is not a rare case, we can get those slides and have this microvisionaire placed in that area, and the whole city can be, the whole town, whole village can be diagnosed free of cost. We are not going to charge anything to any of those remote areas, and
So
we can
just let me add the numbers, Naveed bhai.
yeah.
So, for example, the Chuktai Diagnostic Lab Network has 172 locations across Pakistan, not just big areas. So it's going to all the remote areas, and they have this biopsy at every location available. So, which is why we are trying to partner with these diagnostic labs as well, so that can collect the samples and actually the microscope that we showed, any microscope which can have a camera mounted on that, can sort of be converted into in digital scanner. So for remote areas, this should be enough. It takes about 10 to 15 minutes, but there wouldn't be so many samples in remote areas. We would need proper scanners in the cities where we have a lot of patients coming in. For example, AFIP here, Armed Forces Institute of Pathology, regularly gets several hundred patients a month. So does PIMS. So these big places, we will need the scanners, but everybody else can have that microvisioneer solution to
Yeah,
sort of
and
digitize the image and then send it us over the email or
yes,
over the cloud.
one point on the funding side. So we started this fundraiser for this small the microscope based solution, microvisionaire. Alhamdulillah, we achieved that by 31st of October. That was for the first one. That will be placed in the lab in fast. The second one we are aiming to buy within November, which will be for the medical institution itself. So remember, the histopathologists need those slides in-house to quickly annotate them as a forum, and they feed it to this, and we use that in our algorithm. So we feed it to our algorithm. That's the training of the algorithm. That should happen at the institution level, at the medical institution level. So the other microvisioner, the first one that is in fast, that will be used for the research perspective, where slides will be fed not only to actually analyze or develop the algorithm, but also to get some samples tested as well. So you just feed it an image from a biopsy, and we verify, we give you a summary report for those. So 2 are required. First one is done, alhamdulillah. We're placing the order tomorrow, as I said. And from pricing perspective, it is not significant at all. It's just $10,000 per microvisionaire. We already have one. The second one we are collecting for. If you want to contribute or you donate something towards that, most welcome. You donate it to FAANA, and it will reach us through proper channel directly to procure that as well, inshallah.
Inshallah, very good. So we have reached the top of the hour, and I know there was another question that came in, but I think that would require either a separate session or something. They wanted to, they said, can you please share any slide related to TPUs for further understanding and sharing purposes? So I guess we could take that one offline, and I would recommend that if they could email you at amal@in-matrix.org, and then you can answer that offline.
Yes. So in
So
this,
I just sent a link. It's just a beginner's guide, but we can help more if somebody needs more help. Sure.
Very good. Very good. Okay. Thank you very much for your time. And this was, mashallah, a very good, informative session. And we will spread the word. There will be a recording available on FAANA's YouTube channel. So as soon as I wrap this up, I'll upload this. Thank you all. Jazakallah khair.
okay. Thank you. Assalamu alaikum.
Assalamu alaikum.
Thank you.